Reports indicate that Russian troops have moved closer to Kyiv. A U.S. official estimated that Russian forces advanced about 5 kilometers or 3 miles closer to the capital city of Ukraine on the morning of March 10. The convoy of 40-mile-long Russian tanks and combat vehicles headed to Kyiv was stuck for days. At a press conference on Wednesday, Pentagon spokesman John Kirby said it remained stalled. They think it's mostly for resupply. What do you think? Hello everyone, welcome to Warzone. If you don't want to miss out on any new political news, conflicts, battles, or anything else related to politics, then subscribe to our channel and hit the bell button so that you will always be notified. Ukraine took down the Russian column east of Kyiv on March 9, showing what a tough time the Russians have had taking the Ukrainian capital, which was supposed to be taken quickly after their invasion. Bellingcat, which geolocated the footage to Brovary, an eastern suburb of Kyiv, showed over 20 armored vehicles turning around and retreating under fire. The video didn't show any supporting infantry. Another video allegedly shows destroyed T-72 tanks and a burning BTR-82 on the side of the road littered with debris. According to a tweet from the Ukrainian Defense Ministry's intelligence department, the forces had destroyed 2 Russian tank regiments near Brovary and killed one of the regiment's commanders, forcing them to retreat and defend. Another video shows Ukrainian artillery striking Borodyanka, more than 70 kilometers northwest of Kyiv. Last month, Ukrainian citizen soldiers who never dreamed of fighting were holding out in Kyiv and other front lines, while Russian tanks and artillery made slow progress from the north, south, and east. NBC News reported on Thursday that up to 6,000 Russian troops may have been killed over the past 2 weeks in a conflict in which Moscow has killed thousands of people and displaced more than 2 million people. According to Military Times, satellite images released by commercial space firm Maxar the previous day showed that a large Russian convoy had barely advanced since February 28th near an airport in Hostomel, northwest of Kyiv. Last week, a video of a destroyed Russian column in the neighboring town of Bucha went viral on Twitter, showing the Russian invasion's devastation and the ferocity of Ukrainian resistance. According to the New York Times, the United States and other NATO allies supplied Ukraine with more than 17,000 anti-tank weapons in 6 days. The shipment includes the U.S.-made Javelin medium-range missile, the Anglo-Swedish NLAW short-range missile, rocket-propelled grenades, and other anti-tank systems, according to the report. Similar ammunition was supplied to Ukraine before the war broke out, and Bayraktar drones were provided by Turkey both before and during the conflict. An Israeli expert told Haaretz last week that Ukraine is effectively repelling Russian forces with drones, but it might not be enough. Tal Inbar, a senior research fellow at the Missile Defense Advocacy Alliance, says video footage of attacks against Russian vehicles released by the Ukrainians shows very accurate hits, so it's no surprise. But footage of downed Ukrainian drones posted on social media shows that they are no panacea for Kyiv's defense issues. According to him, they are quite effective but limited due to the small number of them that Ukrainian forces possess, and their use is very limited. This isn't like Nagorno-Karabakh, where Azerbaijani drones were extensively used, he said, referring to the 2021 conflict over the disputed territory between Armenia and Azerbaijan. Meanwhile, Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky called out Russians' lies about the hospital attack and promised to punish Russian propagandists in a video address. Zelensky said the Russian state-run media lied that there were no civilians in the building and that nationalists had allegedly taken up position there. He said, "They lie confidently, as always. War crimes are impossible without the propagandists who cover them up." Russian forces say the attack on a maternity hospital in Mariupol was a staged provocation by Ukraine, and that the hospital wasn't operational and was being used for neo-Nazi radicals. As of now, the tweets from the Russian embassy in the UK with these claims have been removed from Twitter. The company said, "We took enforcement action against the tweets you referenced, as they were in violation of the Twitter rules, specifically our hateful conduct and abusive behavior policies related to the denial of violent events." But Zelensky's message to the Russian propagandists was simple. He said, "You will bear responsibility just as all those who give orders to bomb civilians." He pledged to seize their property and prosecute them for their complicity in war crimes. He said, "War always beats the victims and the aggressor. The aggressor just realizes it later, but it always realizes it and always suffers." Zelensky said, "We all have been defending our state for the 15th day. We endured. The Ukrainian army is repelling attacks in key directions, thanks to our military." In addition, Zelensky said Ukraine continues to provide humanitarian corridors for evacuations, as well as food, water, and medicine distribution. He said the Russian forces in Ukraine have created a humanitarian catastrophe, adding that Russian monsters would torture and humiliate the people of Ukraine to feed their propaganda channels new material. He thanked European leaders for their support and the Ukrainians for defending their country. He said, "We have not become slaves and we will never become slaves, because this is our spirit, this is our destiny." Lastly, Zelensky promised that after Ukraine won the war, they'd rebuild it to get rid of every trace of Russia. But apart from Zelensky, Ukraine's neighbors have stepped up to help the more than 2.3 million refugees who fled the country within 2 weeks. Moldavia has taken in the most refugees per capita. According to the UN Refugee Agency, 82,800 refugees have entered Moldova since Russia began invading Ukraine. United States Agency for International Development, USAID, Administrator Samantha Power said, Moldova is the smallest country bordering Ukraine, but it has welcomed the most refugees per capita. Every 8th child in the country is a refugee. And Vice President Kamala Harris announced the U.S. government will provide nearly $53 million in humanitarian assistance to USAID. The White House said, this additional assistance includes support to the UN World Food Program to provide life-saving emergency food assistance to meet immediate needs of hundreds of thousands affected by the invasion, including people who are displaced from their homes and who are crossing the border out of Ukraine. They added, in addition, it will support WFP's logistics operations to move assistance into Ukraine, including to people in Kyiv. And not only this, but United Nations also supported Ukraine. During a speech to the United Nations, the U.S. ambassador said that the Russian actions committed against the Ukrainian people were war crimes. During an interview with BBC, Ambassador Linda Thomas-Greenfield said that there were attacks on civilians that could not be justified by anyone under any circumstances. As Thomas-Greenfield stated, the question of whether Russia is guilty of war crimes is the one we are being asked every day. As she said, we are working with other members of the international community to document the crimes that Russia is committing against the Ukrainian people. In response to reports that Russian war crimes have been committed, State Department spokesperson Ned Price was less explicit. During a press briefing, he said, we've seen credible reports of deliberate civilian attacks which would, under the Geneva Conventions, constitute a war crime. The Secretary of State Antony Blinken gave a similar update on the investigation into suspected war crimes on Sunday, but he did not specify whether the U.S. had determined Moscow was at fault. He went on to say that U.S. officials have seen credible reports of war crimes perpetrated by Russian forces, and that they support the International Criminal Court (ICC) investigation into the allegations of war crimes being committed by Russian forces. According to Price, the U.S. wants to preserve evidence so that it can be matched with reports of war crimes and forensic evidence collected on the ground. Price said that the U.S. will hold Russia accountable if the ICC finds that war crimes or other human rights abuses were committed. And not only this, but President Joe Biden was also saying that he will take action on Russia. Joe Biden banned Russian imports of oil, gas, and energy. He said, today I am announcing that the U.S. is targeting the main artery of Russia's economy. We are banning all imports of Russian oil, gas, and energy. That means that Russian oil will no longer be acceptable at U.S. ports. The American people will deal another powerful blow at Vladimir Putin's war machine. Biden acknowledged that not all of the U.S.'s allies and partners would be able to join in this ban, even though he said that the decision has been made in close coordination with allies and partners. He said, we produce far more oil domestically than all of the European countries combined. In fact, we are a net exporter of energy. We can take this step when others can't. Everyone supports Ukraine, so hopefully this war will end soon. Alright everyone, this brings us to the end of our video. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos. Until then, take care, and we will be back with another video.